we are lucky enough, and if we could switch back to the slides, to have the winner of a contest we had where when we launched this, we put it out to the developer community and said, whoever builds the coolest site will win this contest. And the winner of that contest happens to be here today. They're one of our sponsors here at the expo outside. So please join me in welcoming Craig Traxler from EDL Consulting.
Thanks, Eric.
You bet.
I'll get the clicker. It's a big day for me having the clicker. Well, I'm really excited to be here and to be able to share our experience. It's probably relevant for a lot of the folks in the room. I'm going to give just a little bit of background on who we are because it's relevant to the story. EDL Consulting is a company focused on the inquiry to cash business process, a lot of heavy e-commerce kinds of applications, Best Buy for Business, Symbol, Motorola, a lot of these really industrial sites that you go to for e-commerce and shopping experiences. And we also have a large practice in Salesforce and in Force.com development. So the reason I tell you that is that we were at Dreamforce last year, and we heard Mark talk about sites and announce it. And that really got us going from our background and our knowledge base, and we thought, can we reproduce the kinds of experiences that we're accustomed to producing and the sites that we create? Can we reproduce that visual experience within the Force.com platform using sites? So we took about 3 developers and we cross-trained them from our ecom practice just to kind of also validate how quickly we could develop in the platform. And we gave those folks a week to develop an e-commerce site. And they were a little nervous, I have to say, but they got over it and they kind of picked up their jaws and went after it. And after a week, we submitted essentially what you're going to see today. And we were fortunate enough to win the challenge, and we won the best, I think it's best visual site category, which was relevant because of the kinds of user experience you need to be able to portray, the look and feel of a commercial site you need to be able to reproduce, and that was so that was part of what we wanted to be able to do. So it's 3 weeks, or 3 skilled developers, 1 week worth of work, and we're going to cut over to the demo now.
That doesn't look like Salesforce.
This is, in fact, Salesforce. So everything you see here is delivered from the Force.com platform. We chose not to replace the URL, kind of to illustrate that today. So, you see a Flash rollover piece here. You see lots of images where we can promote different games. You see more promotional areas here. Lots of visual appeal. Everything you're looking at is delivered natively from the Force.com platform. Nothing is coming from anywhere else. All right, so you folks have, I'm sure, been through an online shopping experience. So we're going to go through this knowing that you know how to go through an online shopping experience. And I'm going to point out some key markers along the way. So let's get into it. I'm going to drill in on games associated with the PS3 category or platform. So these are all the games associated with it. You can see that my header up at the top has remained the same. You can see that I've added some new visual elements down here on the bottom. And we've got a search area. We can narrow by the specific genre. We've got another area here where we can feature various games. And so the interesting thing here is that we can reuse components for visual elements up here and reuse them throughout our site. That was kind of important to us to know from a programming standpoint whether we could reuse code and do things the way that we normally did in sort of a J2EE Java way. So let's go through and drill in on a product. Okay, so we have Bionic Commando with bonus. All right, so
that sounds awesome.
This is a phenomenal game. A lot of visuals here. So you can see, we've got product images. We've got additional screenshots on the bottom. We're using images to represent what platform it's associated with and what game rating it's associated with. So the thing that you need to know here is that all of this data is just sitting in custom objects that we saw created earlier. It's the same kind of process to create them, and the same sort of capabilities that were demonstrated on them can be utilized even though we kind of have this whiz-bang appearance now. So let's go through and add this to the cart. Okay, so my shopping cart's coming up. Pretty similar shopping cart experience to what I think a lot of people have seen. I can remove items. I can change my quantities. I also see up here that I've added an item. I've got a total value. We're using cookies to support this and collect this information. It's kind of a typical way for a lot of e-commerce sites to gather that kind of data. And the reason I bring that up is because we were able to now translate our normal way of doing things, right, into the Force.com platform, and we were able to kind of work the way we are always accustomed to working. And so that was important from us, from our development standpoint. So let's go through the checkout process. Okay, so now I'm being asked to authenticate. So what we were looking at before was available through sites, and those were anonymous pages, right? They were unauthenticated pages. Anybody out on the internet with the URL can go and get to those pages, and that's what's provided through sites. But now I'm going to authenticate because, like a lot of commerce experiences, you know, they want you to authenticate yourself as you go through the shopping process. So we're going to use Salesforce.com's customer portal product to manage the authentication for us, and it's very tightly integrated into the site's process. This is one of my favorite sites, so I actually already have a login. And I'm going to log in. So it's a good thing that we're authenticating because now we're starting to get into credit card information and personal information, and so we want this to be secure. So it is. And it's taking advantage of all the security features of the platform. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. Okay, this is my review order screen. Pretty similar to what a lot of people would know. And there are some interesting things going on here. I'm going to point out this number. I'm going to use the whiz-bang zoom feature. And you can see the $4.50. So what we did was we actually called out in real time to another software as a service provider to get tax information. We gave them some information about the items that we had, where we were shipping it to, and those kinds of things, and got that value coming back, and we're able to display it here and capture it in our database. So what's interesting about that is integration with the platform and integration with SaaS products in general tends to be much quicker. This took our developers, I think, about 2 days to get up and running once we finally arrived at a product. So very simple process to get these kinds of features implemented in your site. I'm going to go ahead and place this order. All right, so my order's been placed. I've got an order confirmation number. And I think the interesting thing here I wanted to show was a transaction number. So we've gone out now, called to another software as a service provider, Skipjack. It happens to be an app exchange partner. And we've gone out and used my credit card information and hopefully validated this against their test site. But we actually did charge this, and this is the valid authorization code that they came back with. And we could go into their site and list that transaction as being registered. So we're actually now doing commerce over the Force.com platform using this technology. And this integration, again, took us about a couple of days to get going. All right, so that is really the shopping experience, and it kind of gives you an idea of what can be done visually. So I want to take you now behind the scenes and show you a little bit about the org. Like we said here, we've got the credentials here. We can now kind of take you under the covers a little bit and show you the employee-facing view of this application. So there's a couple of things I notice on this main site. One of them is the fact that really every game we have on the site is violent or really, focused on adults, and we need to kind of mix it up a little bit. We need something that's a little bit more family-friendly. What can we do there? And then I'm looking at this Skate 2 description, and it's really pretty lame. There's not much going on there. Let's see if we can't punch that up a little bit and have a little better marketing. So I'm going to go behind the scenes here, and hopefully this is still logged in.